It's time for high school football on Country Legends, AM 15.
Hello and welcome from Buckeye Central. I'm Trayvon Hastings. With me is going to be Anthony Control for this broadcast. And this is a Buckeye Central team that is looking to go into their first 3-0 start since 2022. But we'll bring it back shortly. We will then go over some quick keys to the game.
Tired of hearing scary radio ads about the IRS? Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS with zero risk to you. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with a BBB. End your tax nightmare today by visiting TRA.com or call 800-275-1728. That's 800-275-1728.
Lost a contact? Need an exam? I can help. Hi, I'm Dr.
FOH Report brings you local high school sports coverage like nobody else. In football, basketball, baseball, volleyball, softball, soccer, wrestling, track and field. If it's happening in our area, we're streaming it.
He's going to send a line drive down the field. It'll be fielded on the bounce. That is Schieffer. Schieffer finds a hole at the center. Schieffer turns on the burners. Schieffer could go. He's at the 50, 45. He's got one man to beat. Schieffer with the ball in his left hand. He's going to take it to the house. Whitford opens up the second half with the kick return touchdown.
When it comes to comfort, every degree matters. At Buckeye Horizon, we proudly install and maintain Trane heating and cooling systems built to last, engineered for performance.
57.
Hello, welcome back to Buckeye Central. I'm Trayvon Hastings, and we're going to get into some quick keys to the game. I'm going to hand it over to my color man, Anthony, and we're going to take a look at Fairport Harding.
Well, there's a team coming down here that we don't know a whole lot about, but we do have a little bit of information on Fairport Harding. Coach Marcus Jones has a 2-0 team. They have scored 70 points in their first two games, so they obviously have some playmakers and some kids who can get the ball in the end zone. So that's something Buckeye Central, I'm sure, is going to have to prepare for. A couple of keys for Fairport Harbor. Would be number one, controlling the Phillips brothers, Jack and his brother Alec. The quarterback, Jack Phillips, is kind of the epicenter of the whole Buckeye Central team, especially the offense. So we'll see how they defend him. They've got weapons with the other brother Alec and as well as Hunter Cotto. So those are things that they first of all, I think Fairport Harbor will have to air the ball out, try to spread it out, get some points on the board, and then defensively slow down the Phillips brothers, particularly the quarterback, Jack. As far as Buckeye Central goes, I think they have to keep their composure and not look ahead. Next week begins the N10 season. They play county rival Bucyrus over at Bucyrus. Always a tough game, very competitive game. So they have to just stay focused on this game before they look ahead to a tough N10 schedule and trust the process that's got them here. Coach Jordan Phillips has done a nice job with this team. Neither team has a deep roster, somewhere between 24, 25 kids. And when you have that many, you have to just really take advantage of the kids you have on the field. And Buckeye Central so far has been able to do that.
Very good keys there. Two teams that are 2-0, and they're going to look to improve to 3-0. But we'll be back here shortly as we're getting ready to get into the national anthem.
This is Ted Coder from
I'm Steve Kroll, president of First Federal Community Bank. And here at First Federal Community Bank, our playbook consists of the 3 C's: care, curiosity, and courage. Just like your team, our 3 C's strengthen our communities and our team here at First Federal Community Bank. On behalf of our team here at First Federal, we want to wish all of our area teams and coaches the best of luck this season. Yes!
Kelly Ondich from Pisanello's Pizza. Our 11 to Bucyrus.com.
Welcome back once again to Buckeye Central. I'm Trayvon Hastings. With me is Anthony Control for this broadcast and taking a look at both of these teams, which are 2-0. Crestline and South Central were the 2 wins for Buckeye Central, one of those being on the road at Crestline, the other one at home. So this will be the second straight home game for the Bucks. Those 2 wins, 22-7 and 34-7. So a solid 28 points per game so far through 2 games. And then just 7 points allowed in each of those first 2 contests for Fairport. They also have 2 wins, 28-22 at home against Cambridge Springs, a team from Pennsylvania, and then also a win on the road, 49-6 last week against Lisbon. So these are 2 teams. They're coming into this 3rd game with a lot of momentum. They're playing very well. We mentioned it. They also have some smaller rosters, so we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, we get to Division 6, Division 7, you have rosters usually in the 20s as opposed to some of the bigger schools. So, and it also looks like they kind of travel. Maybe, I don't know what their home stadium is like or what kind of league they might, compete in, but it seems like they're kind of a team that kind of travels around to find games. So sometimes that happens. Crestline has done the same thing, so not unusual.
Yeah, I was just going to say they have 3 straight road games here, Buckeye Central being the first of that 3-game stretch. Then they play at Cardinal, at Matthews, and then they've got 3 home games against 3 teams, and they go at St. John versus Wyndham. So their schedules vary all over the place. They are a team not necessarily from the area, so it is a little bit harder to get a gauge on how they're going to perform. But they are a team that does like to air it out. You mentioned that, and I think that's key for them in terms of putting stress on a Buckeye Central defense that has played fairly well through its first 2 games of the season.
Yeah, can Buckeye Central's defensive line or linebackers, can they get pressure on the quarterback? Can they make it uncomfortable for him and not let him stand back there and pick him apart and obviously throw the ball when he has time? He can do that. So I'm sure they've scouted that this week, and that'll be a point of emphasis for Buckeye Central defensively.
And another point of emphasis for Buckeye Central to kind of re-harp on it is that combination of Jack and Jack Philliphs, the QB receiver tandem, and they're both going to be playing as 2-way players as well, with the rosters being as limited as they are. But that's going to be the key for the Bucks if they want to prevail and get their first 3-0 start since 2022.
Yeah, the thing with Buckeye Central, even in recent years, is they have such a small numbers. Keeping kids healthy through a 10-game schedule, Trayvon, is sometimes a challenge. So last year I know they suffered several injuries to players midway through the season, so hopefully they can stay healthy. And the Phillips brothers obviously played together since they were little kids, but that's kind of the nucleus of that team is those 2 kids. And they're a little bit young on the line, but their experience at the skill positions, obviously, as you said, a team that we kind of don't know much about.
And ironically, those won't be the only set of brothers or family members in this game. Fairport with 3 Castellanos, Abraham, they've got Omar as well, and then also John Castellanos. So they've got a collection of players that they have confidence in, and a family that frankly is the biggest key contributors for their team.
They've got about a fifth of their roster just in those 3 kids. But yeah, we'll see what they can do. I think Abraham's a running back, and the other one, Yomar, is a wide receiver and defensive back. So obviously, those kids are accustomed to playing with each other as well.
And at the helm, at quarterback for Fairport, is Brady Lawson, who has had a very good start to the season. We're about a minute 35 here from kickoff, and we're going to see, since we actually didn't get to see who won the opening toss. But
yeah, we kind of missed that. We'll find out here very quickly.
We've got Buckeye Central here getting ready to do the old running through the flag.
Yeah, we got a nice crowd here, Trayvon. A nice sunny day, beautiful weather, and a Saturday afternoon football, which is a little unusual for us around here with high schools, but Buckeyes played a few of them over the years.
And as you say that, here comes our Buckeye Central Bucks onto the field, sporting that red and kind of grayish silver, and they're not the only team named Bucks or Buckeyes who will be playing today as well. Just a nice little catch there. So they look very. They're getting us the little pregame action to the Ohio State Buckeyes, who will play later today against Grambling.
Got the red jerseys, the gray numerals, and gray pants, and red helmets. So yeah, very very much resembling a smaller version of the Buckeyes.
Much smaller version in a much smaller area. Here comes Fairport as well. They're at the opposite end zone. They're sporting the white jerseys with the maroonish kind of color, kind of, Texas A&M-y, to put it in a college perspective for those watching.
That's a good call. And like I said, their roster looks like it's somewhere under 25 maybe, or even less. So,
yeah, the roster size that we have on the sheet, if I counted that versus what I can count on the field, I would say it's almost half of what it actually is.
Yeah.
It's hard to indicate that and, try to count it. But they have a very, very small roster, and it'll be interesting to see how Buckeye Central kind of tries to play that offensively, because sometimes with the limited numbers, you can wear out an opponent defensively, very easily fatigue them, and if they don't have anybody to bring in, that can be an advantage moving forward.
They didn't even arrive in a traditional school bus. They came in kind of I don't know what you'd call it, a mini.
One of those travel vans, for sports teams?
Yeah, exactly, like a travel van. Looked pretty nice, but a little different. But, yeah, here we are. It looks like Buckeye Central will be receiving the football to our left.
And the other unique thing about Fairport, since we're on that topic pregame, they had warmed up until almost the very end with no pads on.
They went in with about 6 or 7 minutes on the clock to pad up and came back out and ready to go. So maybe that's the way they kind of prepare. Don't want to get the heavy pads on too early.
That's their mojo?
I guess. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Must have worked for them if they're 2-0, right?
I was going to say it's unique, it's different, but if it works for them, and as the old saying is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And Trayvon, the other thing real quick, they don't have weights listed or heights. This team doesn't look very big.
No, not at all.
They look very, very lean, a lot of, receiver, tight end type bodies, not a whole lot of big linemen. So we'll see if that is a factor as they get ready to kick off.
And adding on to that, potentially a lot of speed because of that leanness.
I think you're going to see a team with some speed and some skill.
Kick it off here. It appears to be
Castellano.
Squib. Little squib onside attempt here for Fairport, and it looks like they came up with the football. But